256-576-4977. Plenty to unpack from over the weekend, and that's just Saturday. That's not even discussing NFL football, which you can throw in there as well, but we're just unpacking a lot of what went on Saturday. And I will start right out of the gates. Why not start with, at the time, top-ranked Alabama? Of course, the AP poll has come out since then. Georgia, the new number one. Alabama traveling to Texas. The Tide, as you heard on the VSiN, they were going in a 20-point favorite there. They don't win by 20. They get a 1-point win. At the end of the day, a W is a W. There's a lot of teams in college football on this Monday that are wishing they had W's. Nebraska, Notre Dame, among the two. But Alabama didn't play their best game by far. A lot of things to fix going into this next week, but they got a W. The grade may not be good, probably a D, but they got a win.
Well, I would never give a win a D. You don't ever apologize for winning. It'd have to be, I guess, a B minus, C plus performance, certainly. But they won a game in a hostile environment on the road. They weren't the Texas A&M Aggies, who got manhandled, dominated, and their ass completely handed to them by the Appalachian State Mountaineers, who their moronic yell leader thought didn't even, the half of them couldn't read and write, and they got the football rammed up their rear end, and their head coach looked like the clueless dirtneck that he truly is, as we hear the fight song of the Appalachian State Mountaineers being played right now. That's why College Game Day is headed to Boone, North Carolina this coming Saturday to face off against John Summerall's 1-1 Troy Trojans.
Yeah.
Because the Texas A&M Aggies have the most overrated piece of trash coach in college football. And he proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt on Saturday. I mean, there is no questioning, because the Appalachian State head football coach makes $425,000 a year, Scott. The starting defensive line and front seven from the Texas A&M Aggies all make more than that, and they couldn't stop the run. They gave up 41 minutes of possession time. They had 2 turnovers to 0 for Appalachian. Appalachian was 12 of 25 on 3rd and 4th down, and outrushed them 181 to 89. Is that not getting dominated? I don't know what else is. And that's even with, the help from the incompetent officiating, who tried to help give them the game with just a senseless roughing the passer call. And roughing the passer has become, Scott, you might as well not even touch the quarterback when he lets go of the ball, because they're looking to call a roughing the passer. Alabama got a bogus call, of course.
Yeah, we laughed at those NCAA rules, where they were talking about it. We laughed at it. But I don't think there's a lot of people laughing after week 2, because it looks like the referees are specifically enforcing minor contact when it comes to quarterbacks.
Dallas Turner got called for roughing the passer, and Quinn Ewers was knocked out of the game. It wasn't even, when Quinn Ewers is trying to avoid a sack and backpedaling and throwing the ball away, and Dallas Turner's pursuing him, putting his hands up, and tries to hit the guy as the ball's thrown, and then it's physics. He's falling into him and falls on top of him. Didn't body slam him, falls on top of him, and they call roughing the passer.
Right.
How do you there's no way. I wasn't irritated by that. I was irritated by the call, but if I'm a coach, I can't get mad at Dallas Turner. That's just an effort play. How can you penalize a kid for trying to play hard and make a play on the ball, and then you call him for roughing passer? It's not like he stuck his helmet under his chin or anything. It's a football play, and it wasn't malicious. The kid got hurt. It's unfortunate. He's out 4 to 6 weeks with I think it's non-throwing shoulder. It's his clavicle, but it's football. It happens, and so. I just don't understand. Now, I will say he was playing a great football game. Ewers was 9 of 12 for 134 yards. He was throwing the ball like Steven Garcia and the third-string dirt-neck refugee at Auburn, Zach Calzada. But, and who knows if it would have continued. Alabama ended up switching to zone we'll see if Ewers would have kept up. Of course, it's easy for Texas fans to say, oh, yeah, we had them beat, just like Colt McCoy. I mean, and they can accuse me of the same thing because I said if Alabama were healthy, I mean, they would have beaten Georgia. But see, what I said is in that documented fact because we saw it a month before. We never saw that with Texas because Texas is – the biggest bunch of blowhards that ever walked the planet Earth. It's always what if.
But you can see why, though, Quinn Ewers was coming out of high school one of the best quarterbacks in the country.
He's got a great arm. He's got arm talent. I think the
upside to him is way better than the Stephen Garcia upside.
Well, Stephen Garcia was a four-star kid out of Tampa. He was heavily recruited in his own mind by Steve Spurrier, but still, I think you can see why Ewers was rated a five-star prospect. He certainly was throwing the ball well. He's going to be playing for an outstanding coordinator in Steve Sarkisian that's going to put him in position to play well. Now, he struggled with turnovers in practice and had turned it over once against Louisiana Monroe. He certainly had not against Alabama. It was unfortunate that he got hurt. I thought Hudson Card still made a good accounting of himself. He certainly kept Texas in the lead. Didn't make any just unbelievably bad mistakes. Was able to use his legs. Now he got hurt. He has a high ankle sprain now, but that's football. Alabama was their own worst enemy for much of the game. They got 15 penalties for 100 yards. So anybody saying that Alabama gets all the calls, it's ridiculous. I thought the Big 12 crew was atrocious. I didn't think they let them play enough. I thought now some of the penalties were absolutely warranted. I mean, Will Anderson's just unbelievably boneheaded.
Offsides calls.
Well, no. This was the personal foul.
Yeah.
I mean, Will Anderson personally, as great a football player as he is, gave Texas 10 points because they had Texas stopped on their only touchdown drive. Would have been about 4th and 7, 4th and 8. Jalen Moody, who by the way was the defensive MVP of the game, shot the gap, tackled the guy for a loss. Would have been about 4th and 8. But he gets offsides, first down. They go down and score a touchdown. And then that stupid personal foul led to a field goal because it would have been a 3rd and long if he hadn't done that. So, Will Anderson did some great things in the game. He blocked a field goal, at least it looked like it to me, at the end of the first half. And then he also had a huge sack to force what ended up being still a great kick by Byrd Auburn, 49 yards, but it was a great play. But again, Will Anderson uncharacteristically, he got 4 of the 15 penalties himself. And so while some of the calls were legit, and then I thought the first pass interference at the end of the half on Kool-Aid McKinstry was a good call. The second one was garbage. I mean, he turned around to play the ball. I watched college football the rest of the day. I'm watching hand fighting and physicality go on everywhere, but it's typical Big 12 officiating. They don't understand that it's not two-hand touch or flag football. That's basically what they treat it as in that league. And so they were throwing flags everywhere. And then, of course, we had to listen to Dumb and Dumber call the game, which was Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson. Gus Johnson starts off the game in rare form talking about how Kool-Aid McKinstry's returning kickoffs.
And then they were Gus, well, there's also a number one on the roster. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
And then Alabama drives down. They're within there. It's a 52-yard field goal attempt. He's sitting there saying that the punter, James Burnham's fixing to come out. And I'm like, obviously you haven't done any research, joke. I mean, the Knicks aren't playing. You probably should be doing basketball. But Will Reichert's about to come out here and kick this field goal.
Yeah, that was bad. It makes you miss Vern Lundquist.
Oh, my Lord. Give me Vern and Gary any day. They're Bob Greasy and Keith Jackson compared to Dumb and Dumber.
All right.
I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Phone lines are filling up fast. Let's get out there to them. Let's first hit Randy on line 1 real fast. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, fellas. How y'all?
Good, Randy. How you doing?
Doing good, Drew. I agree with a lot of things, Drew, but remember one thing, buddy. They are supposed to be the number one team. They should play like it.
Well, sometimes you don't, right, Randy? I mean, they got a lot of inexperienced guys on offense. It showed. Luckily, they had the best player on the field in Bryce Young, and much like the Iron Bowl last year and in Florida, those two games kind of reminded me of this one. Alabama found a way to win, and you never apologize for winning. Sark knows Alabama very well. Their defensive staff had a great plan, and they played well. They were much better on defense than I anticipated them being, and they certainly played Alabama tough, and Alabama made a lot of self-inflicted mistakes, but they found a way to survive.
But keep this in mind too, Randy. Being the number one, playing like the number one football team right now in week 2 gets you absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the rankings basically mean nothing. I've been on record as saying this. I wish they wouldn't even rank teams until October, but it is what it is. So
you got to play to play. I mean, there's teams that ain't going to play with you. If you don't play ball, you lose. When you lose, you snooze.
Yeah. Well, they didn't lose.
Now, if they keep playing like that, they will, though.
Well, there's a lot of mistakes that they've got to clean up. No, you're right. They're
I don't, I really don't know who should be number one at this point. I'm kind of like y'all. It's ranked too high, too quick, and everything. Because they ain't really none of them playing real good ball. I mean, Georgia's fair, but I haven't seen a whole lot out of none of them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, if I had to vote, I don't blame somebody for voting Georgia number one. They drilled Oregon. We don't know how good Oregon is, but at the time, Oregon was a ranked team. They beat them 49-3. They beat Samford 33-0. But I mean, I think Alabama and Texas would beat Samford about that bad, 5 touchdowns. So but they did their job. They won. It doesn't really matter right now, like Scott said, who's number one. If you want to vote them number one, that's fine. Now, just blindly saying Ohio State is better than Alabama's stupidity because they beat a pathetic Notre Dame team right now, and they are pathetic, 21-10, and was losing at halftime 10-7. This Notre Dame team has not won a game under Marcus Freeman. They're 0-3. They lost the bowl game, and then they lost at home to Marshall this weekend, 26-21. Looked pathetic doing it. So giving them credit for beating some top 10 Notre Dame team, it's obvious Notre Dame's not a top 15 team, and it's obvious that we're ticking to 40 years before they since they won a national championship when they didn't have HD TV because they're not winning anything this year.
All right, Randy. Hate to do it to you, buddy.
Let me say this, Scott, and then
all
I'll
right,
get
real
off.
fast.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I agree. I agree the referees did throw a lot of flags, but you know what? I still believe that Texas team is going to be a pretty darn good team.
Well, we'll certainly find out.
We'll see what they do. They put a lot of stock into that Alabama game. We'll see what they do going forward. Mm-hmm. And Steve Sarkisian alluded to it even in his little week ups there. You come out and play Alabama, you put all this energy into Alabama, but it's what you do afterwards. It's what you do the weeks after.
He said
that
the third round
your
of the
team.
fight is next.
Yeah, so you've got
to Texas San Antonio.
Yep. All right. Thanks for the call, Randy. Brandon's with us on line 2. Good morning, Brandon.
Hey guys, good Monday morning.
It's sure written in College Station.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. The good thing is ATM lost in incredibly embarrassing fashion. It couldn't have been any more glorious. Drew's neighbor called and said they needed a new cuss jar during the game, so I tried to call Brinks, but they wouldn't answer. I was just going to send an entire truck. But the really bad, Bowling Green loses to Eastern Kentucky in 7 overtime, 59-57.
Yeah.
This overtime rule has got to change. 7 overtime? Really? This is the best we can come up with?
Well, see, Brandon, that's why they changed the rules to the 2-point conversions, thinking that it would shorten the games. It's not. The same things are still happening. I mean, that's what these and they hide under injury prevention, but it's still we're still having 7 and 8 overtime games just like we did under the old rules.
And I'd have to say the ugly is the embarrassing losses to these Power 5 teams. But it's great, though. Marshall, App State, I mean, these teams went out and done what they were supposed to do if you could actually make it happen. And I think it's great. I mean, if Chase Bryce takes and wins last week and beats North Carolina, and then he turns around this week and beats A&M, I think he's easily a Heisman conversation.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
Oh yeah, I mean he went to Grayson High School. I saw him play high school football.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, I think he's one stupid receiver play away from being a Heisman contender, and I would have loved to have seen him pull that off. That would have made my day to see him took down those two teams. And how ugly has it been for Gene Chizik? Should he have just stayed retired at this point? I mean, he's given up, 1,000 yards offense in 2 games, close to 1,200, I think they said.
Yeah. Not a great start for Gene Chizik there as the defensive coordinator for Mac Brown and North Carolina, by far. Yeah, you're right.
And to give you some stats, this is for Smokey Mike. Tennessee beat a ranked opponent on the road for the first time since 03.
Yeah, Tennessee, that was a heck of a ball game for Tennessee.
And they got 25 quarterback pressures, which is the first time they've done that since 2012.
Yeah, Tennessee looked rather impressive in that win against Pittsburgh. Had a battle. Pittsburgh's, Pittsburgh last year was the best the ACC had to offer. They're the defending ACC champions. It's not Clemson. And Pat Narduzzi has that Pitt squad playing very well. That was a good win for Tennessee in a lot of areas.
It really was a good win, and I guess we can sit here today and just be glad that for Tennessee people, I'm sure that Smokey Mike does not feel too sorry for Greg Schiano at this point.
No. All right, Brandon, thanks for the call, bud.
Thank you. Appreciate the thoughts.
You know what? Everybody's talking about ugly, but come on now. My Iowa Hawkeyes set the bar for ugly. I don't care what anybody says.
Did you see the video that's going viral out there, too?
Iowa, through 2 games, has 316 yards of offense after 2 games total.
I mean, the
That's
video
2
that
games.
was on Twitter, the game's not over. At this point, Iowa had taken a 7-3 lead. They zoom in on this lady. She's pom-pomming, and she's got her Iowa shirt on, and she's all fired up, and the guy next to her has got an Iowa hat on and an Iowa shirt, and then all of a sudden he goes, shh, and it's an Iowa State shirt on underneath. And,
So
of course, his team goes on ahead and wins.
So far, if you're keeping track at home, the Iowa special teams and defense has 7 points. The Iowa offense has 7 points. They're tied.
And, they're playing good defense and special teams, but good Lord, they can't score.
They can't move the ball
at all.
You got to move the ball to score.
I mean,
they went 18 yards on their first possession to get the touchdown.
Complaining about Alabama's 6 straight 3-and-outs, but at least they score some points.
Yes. Jeff from the Borough with us now.
Oh, my goodness.
I know. Good morning, Jeff.
Speaking of Iowa, this Iowa Hawkeyes now the all-time winningest coach in Kentucky history.
Yeah.
Well, congrats, Jeff.
They did. I didn't play, but I watched it. They did all right. But first of all, Marshall, App State, and Georgia Southern have quality programs. They always have. They always will. They were there at other levels of football, and they won. They're going to win now. Okay, because Brandon don't know it, but they do. I don't care who they beat, but they did it, so it don't make no difference. And as far as Kentucky's concerned, yeah, they won. Yeah, he's all-time winningest coach, and that's fine. He's going to go way past that. And Anthony Richardson, I don't know. He might be a Heisman candidate. He might be. I think one of Florida fans said one time, if you lose to Kentucky, you ought to be fired. Would Mr. Napier be fired? Want to hear from you. Is he a good coach? I thought he was at Louisiana, but darling, he got the SEC. And we own the swamp, pal. We own it. 2 out of 3, babe. 3-2 the last 5. Okay? So you're going to give us some credit now, babe? We're just going to, and the Titans lost. It was a 9-11, babe. That's why they lost. It was 9-11 yesterday. They got a whip, so And how about them? How about them Braves, huh? How about Jansen? Can't y'all never save a game, Jansen? Y'all shouldn't even score 5 in the ninth. Just go ahead and lose and get your 3 outs and be done with it. Fly back to Atlanta. Y'all be all right. Y'all can hang in there, babe. But you won't give students no credit as usual. It's usually it's the bashing and beating when you take your foot off. Y'all hang in there and have a good day.
What the heck?
Jeff, you're one of the dumbest people in the United States of America, and I'm going to say that on this show. You are a moron. You could nominate yourself for moron of the year. You don't even know how to handle a win. You're that big a buffoon. I picked Kentucky to win the game, you clown. I picked them to win it all week. I picked them to win it in Atlanta. If you could get the earwax out of your ears and you weren't an idiot, you'd know that. So you know what I'm saying? And you probably didn't even watch the game. You probably went back and watched it after you heard Kentucky won, because you're usually a gutless coward thinking they're going to lose anyway, because that's what you basically are getting ready for your excuses. But Kentucky won the game and was the better team. I chose Kentucky. Repeatedly, I've always given Stoops credit. All I've ever said that you didn't like was that they'd never win the SEC championship. And I'll say it again just to piss you off. They will never win the football no SEC championship, pal. Do you understand me? It's not an orange round ball that goes through a net. It's a football, but luckily Mark Stoops has done a great job. Hopefully you won't let him get hired by Nebraska so he leaves and then your program slips back into mediocrity or worse. But I'm just telling you, the guy is an outstanding coach. You're lucky to have him, and Mitch Barnhart's done a great job. They're a really good football team. I think they're the second best team in the SEC East behind Georgia, probably one of the top 4 in the SEC. They've done a great job. But again, clean the earwax out and understand that I've given your team credit every time, and I picked them to beat Florida. But again, I don't even know if you can read or anything like that, because the common sense just leaves you every time you call in. Instead of enjoying the win and saying our team played really well and relishing the fact that you guys have won 2 of the last 3 in the swamp, you come in here and take shots at me and everybody else because you're a buffoon.
I will say this, Florida looked like a completely different team. Billy Napier was right. Florida looked like a completely different team from the team that they faced, or the team that came out and faced Utah, to the team that faced Kentucky. And I get it. Kentucky's defense, much better probably than a Utah defense, much more physical, I think, than a Utah defense. But they did a lot of things to frustrate Anthony Richardson and company. Oh, yeah. And Florida did not look like the same team that came out and faced Utah. They didn't look like the same squad.
And a lot of times in a coach's first year, you have to learn how to handle success.
Yes.
And that was only Anthony Richardson's 3rd start. He went 14-35 for 143 and then 2 dastardly interceptions, including a pick 6. He threw the ball terribly. But Mark Stoops' defense is extremely well coached. He's got his brother Mike with him now too. He's done a great job, even when losing assistant coaches like Matt House went to the Chiefs and is now with the LSU Tigers. But he's been able to replace guys. He loses John Sumrall to Troy, but he's done a really nice job of hiring staff there. They develop players really well there. I mean, they didn't even have their whole football team. They didn't have arguably the best running back in the SEC. Chris Rodriguez is suspended.
Right.
Cavassier Smoke did a great job. They'd already lost Ramon Jefferson, the tailback from Stephen F. Austin that had transferred in there to an ACL, but it didn't bother them because they know who they are. They have an identity. They're very physical. And wasn't even a perfect performance by Kentucky. It's not like that's what it took. They made mistakes in the kicking game. They snapped the ball over the punter's head for a safety. They made mistakes, but yet they went out there and kept playing because they have a big-time belief in their head coach, and they shut Florida out the second half. And that doesn't happen very often in the swamp. They just bludgeoned Florida.
Right.
They were the better team. There's no question about it.
All right, let's get a break in. Travis Ryer's got to join us. On the flip side, we'll break down Alabama, Texas. It is a Monday.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had an accident reported at Jordan and Putman. They cleared it completely. 2 different wrecks, Joe Quick and 231. One reported with injury. Maston Lake east of Jordan Lane reported with an injury. And in Limestone County, we got one working 31 in Browns Ferry. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN. What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to Talking Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, and our first guest now joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline as we kind of break down that Alabama-Texas matchup.
Yeah, we always enjoy our weekly visits with our next guest. He is the longtime senior analyst of BamaOnline.com since 2003. You also can hear him with Brent Beard, SEC's Second Helping podcast, and Talkin Tide with the Tuscaloosa News. Alabama beat writer Chase Goodbread and columnist. They record Talkin Tide each week, and it's a must-hear if you're an Alabama fan, and that's Travis Schreier. And he's with us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Travis.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, sir. I always enjoy your Grading the Tide feature each and every week after the Alabama, contest. Alabama, we already said earlier in this hour in the first segment, a very similar performance in some ways to Auburn and Florida a year ago. Alabama not playing their best football, but Bryce Young, being the wizard that he is, and the Tide find a way to survive in Austin.
Absolutely. Just when you think you've seen about everything from Bryce Young, he delivers once again. And It's a disjointed offense right now. I don't think there's any doubt about it. You can look to just about any area other than quarterback, maybe running back being the other exception, and have some questions about that side of the football. And you knew there were some new pieces that were going to have to step up and be extremely impactful. I think Tyler Steen's been okay at left tackle, but they were anticipating a guy like Tyler Harrell coming in from Louisville to provide that dynamic on the outside that through 2 games simply we have not seen from this offense, and became clear once again on Saturday. You wondered a little bit about it in the opener against Utah State, but just the inability to really gain separation on the outside is proving problematic. And so how they go about remedying that as best they can. Obviously, they tried to get Jahmyr Gibbs heavily involved, Jace McClellan. It was more of a running back approach on Saturday. But then when they really needed it, give those wide receivers credit, because guys like Ja'Cory Brooks and Trayshawn Holden rebounded from what was otherwise a rough day for him. Kobe Prentice hung in there pretty well throughout the game, and especially in the fourth quarter himself. And getting Cam Latu back in the lineup was important, not only from a confidence standpoint in the passing game, but what he brings to the table as a blocker. So there were some positives, but there's a stretch coming up here with Louisiana Monroe, Vanderbilt, where that side of the football needs to get some things figured out, maybe get a guy or two back in the mix from a health perspective, and then sort of brace yourself as you got a couple of road trips in October that look especially daunting right now, and still a home game against Texas A&M, despite what we saw from the Aggies on Saturday, on Sunbelt Saturday, I guess it was.
Yeah.
That I think by the time it gets here, it'll still be a challenge for this team.
Travis, if you look at that offense and you look at that wide receiver position, is there somebody in there that you think that could step up? And I mean, Alabama did a great thing. They got out Jamison Williams out of the transfer portal a couple years ago, and he came in and made an immediate impact, but not every transfer portal guy is going to make that immediate impact. And I think we're seeing that right now. But is there a wide receiver in that room that you can sit there and say, this is the guy they need to lean on?
And based on what we've seen to this point, probably not. Now, we're only 2 games in. So
right, that's the thing, too.
Sometimes we reserve overreaction Saturday for week 2 instead of week 1. And so you got to be careful with that, because I think Jermaine Burton is obviously a very good option at wide receiver. Trayshawn Holden provides some things that certainly are important there at the position as well. But, you look at guys that are sidelined right now. Dynamic guys like Tyler Harrell have been at least only partially available. Tyler Harrell is a Jamison Williams speed type of guy on the outside. He hasn't been available fully. JoJo Earl with the foot injury in camp. Maybe even more so than from just a pure speed perspective. Something else we're not seeing as much through 2 games is some make you miss, right, in the quick game. And this group hasn't shown to be, at least through 2 games anyway, especially adept at blocking on the perimeter. So that's something else that goes into it. We'll talk so much about speed and playmaking ability. Guys like John Mechie and Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith, they were excellent blockers as well. And then even if they miss blocks, guys like Jalen Waddle could still make 1 or 2 guys miss and turn it into something. So, it's sort of a 2-way miss right now for Alabama out there at that position. But maybe if they get Harrell back in time, certainly JoJo Earl anticipated to be back in time. Aaron Anderson is another guy that has that sort of speed and ability there. And some of these guys, they project more as just slot or inside receivers. But, if they can stretch the field and threaten the top of the defense, I think there's a scenario where you could see more than one of them on the field together. And I think that's why you saw even Isaiah Bond in the game there, the true freshman in the first half. And because he does bring that himself from a speed perspective. And, Bryce, the thing about Bryce is he doesn't care who you are. If you present yourself to him as open, he will get you the football. And we saw that with Bond. Bond did a nice job of trying to work back to Bryce on an extended play Saturday, and Bryce put it on him, and Isaiah's a true freshman and couldn't pull in the pass. So, those are things I think that'll improve. It's just more time with some of these guys as well, continuing the familiarity with one another. And but certainly there's a speed and dynamic ability that's missing right now too.
And Travis, I thought after he settled down with the two early mistakes and the false starts that J.C. Latham played pretty well. You already mentioned, Tyler Steen, but I thought there was and we saw him finally in the fourth quarter, but some issues along the interior of the offensive line for Alabama, especially on the left side.
Yeah, they kind of went through that a little bit after, especially after Bryce had the near safety, whatever that was. I still haven't figured all that out. But after the incompletion, as it was ultimately ruled on the field, or after review, I think more than even on the field, the situation at left guard was, addressed in a way in that Javion Cohen came into the mix there. That was after Darian Dalcourt and I guess Kendall had a double team split there on that pressure on the interior. But give Texas a lot of credit, and they were a handful inside especially. And I'm with you. I think Steen and Latham were pretty good at the tackle positions. Look, Alabama, unlike Texas, and give Sark credit for this, Sark wasn't going to too often leave Quinn Ewers or Hudson Card exposed to five-man protection. And, they would bring in an extra offensive lineman, or they would make sure to keep 6 in, or maybe even 7. And, part of that goes back to the luxury you have with a guy like Xavier Worthy on the outside. You can protect with more and send fewer out when your fewer can get open and can get over the top. So, that kind of goes back to the receiver situation as well. But, I thought that, the interior is going to be interesting to watch moving forward, and I think maybe with an emphasis on that left guard position.
Yeah, the one thing a lot of people are taking away from the game is just the 15 penalties.
Yeah, that was, from a team that we had heard so much about in the preseason and in the lead-up as being bought in and sort of capable of self-policing itself with exceptional leadership in place. That was a bit of a surprise. It was a crazy environment in Austin on Saturday. 105,000. You get all that, but no, that was especially on the defensive side of the ball. Will Anderson, I said it before, he was playing with 4 fouls for most of that game, and so he had the 3 offsides and the inexplicable late hit. It just, and you understand, Will plays with a lot of energy, and you want him to do that, but the attention to detail certainly wasn't there. There were just some mental lapses that you don't anticipate from Alabama teams in general, but certainly those were more along the lines of what you would have expected a year ago, I guess is the point, more so than what you would have expected this time around.
And Travis, your thoughts on the overall performance defensively? Certainly they only gave up the 1 touchdown, but Will Anderson with the offside early in the first quarter, that sustained a drive that led to their only touchdown because they were facing a 4th down after Jalen Moody, who I thought was the best player on the field for the Tide, most consistent, had a tackle for loss negated, and then he had the personal foul you're talking about, which led to a field goal. Otherwise, Alabama may have held this team, especially with the injuries to the quarterback position, to less than 10 points. But your overall thoughts on what we saw defensively from the Tide?
Yeah, red zone defense obviously was key in forcing those field goals in the red zone from Texas. And Texas made 3 of them, missed the one right before the half. That proved to be pretty big. And you're right, defensively, it was a lot of help provided by Alabama when you talk about just first down that Texas got off penalties in the game. It was multiples. And so when you do that and you kind of helping a team stay in the game, that's what you get. What you had on Saturday, you get a 4-quarter battle, and you're in survival mode there late. Certainly a lot of things to clean up. You kind of figured Sark was going to dial up those Alabama corners He certainly did that with Worthy. Worthy was a real problem, especially early in the game. We continue to see a bit of a rotation at that one corner spot. Kyrie Jackson getting the start, but Terry and Arnold, I thought, played pretty well in his place too. So, you're right. Jalen Moody, I thought, was exceptional. Played well throughout the game. Showed up. And we also saw a little bit of Deontay Lawson in the game, too, there. So they're in a great spot at inside linebacker. That competition at corner is one to continue to watch. And, I think health-wise, you had a couple of scares in the game. But it looked like Jace McClellan came out of it okay after taking a big shot there early in the game in the first half. And then also DeMarco Hellams, who had to leave there for a little bit. But it was hot. And it was physical, and it wasn't the sort of Big 12 shootout a lot of us were anticipating.
It was not, Travis, but I will say this. This was a question asked by Coach Bobby Rhodes on Twitter, a good friend who coached at Pelham High School, but also before that was at Grissom, and was head coach there and is now at Pepperell, Georgia. He asked, when's the last time Alabama fans were confident in a kicker making a last-second field goal? And I had to try to think, and I guess it was Jamie Christensen in 2005, the last time Alabama had a walk-off field goal or a late field goal to win a game. It's been such a long time under Nick Saban, but I don't think there's any question that Will Reichert has earned the opportunity to be called the best kicker of the Saban era and one of the best in college football.
Yeah, I think Lee Tiffin was maybe an All-American in 2009.
He was. He had a good last year, yeah.
He did, and so he rebounded from a tough 2006. But, over an extended stretch especially, Will's just been tremendous. And so, you still worry if you're Alabama about those situations, even if Will's out there. But Sark tried to ice him a little bit. I think Sark knew what he was up against, having seen firsthand what Will was able to do a couple of seasons ago in that perfect season that he had. And, I know it was his first game winner, but he's had big kicks. And the one in overtime at Auburn last November to keep that game going was, to me, just as critical, maybe tougher than a game winner, because that's make it, and it was kind of that way too on Saturday. But both were pressure kicks in tough places on the road.
Yep, no doubt. Well, Travis, as we wrap it up with you, and this is Travis Schreier from BamaOnline.com, senior analyst, and of course SEC Second Helping podcast, Talkin Tide podcast. What do we need to see these next 2 weeks? Alabama is going to be the definitive favorite over Louisiana Monroe and Vanderbilt, but they've got a test that's looming larger as the weeks go on at Arkansas. What do we need to see out of Alabama this coming week against Louisiana Monroe?
Play clean, clean up the mistakes from Texas first and foremost. Attention to detail, regain the trust of your head coach, I would say, if you're some of these guys, because he obviously it was of the belief that this was a team, and it still may be, that was worthy of the sort of trust that we've seen for some previous teams. So I think there's some of that to be regained from the player perspective after that performance. But I also think from a coaching staff perspective, there's plenty of things that need to be addressed, or the introspection that needs to take place there. You heard Nick sort of allude to that in the post game, especially where the offense was concerned. And I think you got to continue to rep up this passing game. In a lot of instances, you would think a week like this, you get Bryce in, you get him out. You play Jalen Milroe a lot. You get Ty Simpson in there some. And I think there still might be room for that. But you got to establish some well-roundedness in your passing attack. And if some of these guys are supposed to be at the top of the rotation, you need to start seeing the production between Bryce Young and those guys meet up with that.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff, as always, from Travis Schreier, BamaOnline.com. Travis, we always appreciate the time and the thoughts. Let everybody know how to connect with you guys and your coverage over at BOL.
Just go to BamaOnline.com or Alabama.247sports.com. Either way will get you to us.
Thanks, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
Let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll still continue with the good, the bad, the
You're
ugly,
listening
handing
to
out.
Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had an accident reported at Jordan and Putman. They cleared it completely. 2 different wrecks, Joe Quick and 231. One reported with injury. Maston Lake east of Jordan Lane reported with an injury. And in Limestone County, we got one working 31 in Browns Ferry. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
So what do a cheeseburger, pet food, and a 6-pack of IPA have in common? When you order them with DoorDash, you don't just get the things you love, you support the community you love too. From stores and restaurants to the Dashers driving around, every purchase provides an opportunity for everyone involved. With DoorDash, there's a neighborhood of good in every order. Get 50% off your first order of $12 or more, up to $15 value when you use code RADIO22 at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of the Stanton Law Firm. Stan, I guess you are the Stanton in the law firm.
Yes, Wes, that's me, and we started the Stanton Law Firm so that myself and 4 other attorneys with me can help clients litigate, negotiate, and creatively solve legal and real estate problems.
Now, Stan, you grew up on a family farm in this area and have made a name closing on houses and land with your closing company, Jacob Title.
I grew up on a farm which used to be in the country. That, plus having closed on so many homes and farms, one of my colleagues started referring to me as a classic dirt lawyer. Now, I didn't know how to take that at first, that tag, but I realized that's exactly what I do and what I am.
Dan, I know the attorneys at Stanton Law Firm are regular listeners, and we plan to have you on periodically. You and I have seen have impacted this community.
Stay tuned, and you may hear about friends like Steve Booker, Clarence Johnson, Thomas Boyd, and even a few of those offensive line hogs like Hoss Johnson, and maybe you remember some other of those guys too.
I remember Clarence Johnson. He beat us one year. He was unbelievable.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Do you know that your car or truck or SUV may be worth up to 30 or 40% more than it was last year? It's true. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and now is the perfect time to trade in and trade up to a gold certified or blue certified pre-owned car, truck, SUV, or crossover. While our new vehicle inventory continues to build back, our Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned vehicles are nearing 100 models to choose from, and a good variety too. Woody Anderson Ford Gold certified vehicles are 6 years or younger with less than 80,000 miles and have passed 172-point inspection by factory certified technicians. They have a 14-day, 1,000-mile money-back guarantee, a great comprehensive limited warranty, 24-hour roadside assistance, and go home with full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Get nearly a new ride and none of the worries. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan Spartman, hope to see you soon.
Here's something to get your tailgating in gear this football season. Brooks & Collier have the perfect selection of outdoor furniture for your dream backyard and the biggest selection of grills from Big Green Egg, Traeger, Blaze, Memphis, and Montalpi. Football season is grilling season. Lucy and Ivy, they're just waiting on something to fall off the grill. And remember, you could qualify for 12 months deferred interest with Synchrony Bank. Brooks & Collier, 813 Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find him online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an vital organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
And welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. We're live from Bill Penny Toyota, and it is our good, the bad, the ugly report card Monday show. And, I was kind of alluding to it, and then we asked Travis Reier this, and then get your thoughts too. B. Rich, before we do that, B. Rich is with us on line one. Good morning, B. Rich.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning,
Let me tell
sir.
you, Bama fans, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I would rather have an ugly loss or an ugly win better than a pretty loss. I mean, Bama got out of there, got the W, did what they had to do. I'm going to tell you, man, big tip of the cap, Gary Patterson over there working at Texas as an analyst now. He dialed up an absolute hell of a game plan against Alabama. I know they worked on that all summer, and they showed looks that Bama had not seen. And, Sark has put a hell of a staff together over there. So,
Gary Patterson, when he was at TCU, his defensive prowess was good. TCU's defense year in and year out was some of the top 10 defenses in college football.
Absolutely. That guy's really good on defense, and they got really good players. So they played over their skis. Alabama did everything to help them out. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, they still got out of there with a W because they had the best player on the field. So I'm with Drew. I mean, when you got the best player on the field, all you got to do is put one drive together. I knew when they left a minute and a half on the clock and one timeout, I knew that was plenty of time to get those guys set up. They showed a lot of grit. Get right game. And, man, it don't matter if you win by 1 or 50. I know Saban has set the standard high, and people are used to winning by, 40 and 50 points. But this college football is tough, and you got to win games like that. And they found a way to win it. So I get that, a lot of people are disappointed, but you will never hear me say, well, if we play like that again, we're going to lose, because we don't know. And that's just arrogance right there. People that are just whiny and just, used to Alabama waking up in the morning and beating everybody by 30. So it pisses me off when I hear people say that. Be happy with the win, something to learn on, something to build on, and just keep getting better.
Yeah, and B. Rich, a lot of them were not in the stands when other coaches were roaming the sideline like Mike DeBose and Mike Shula.
Absolutely. You and I have sat through some bad losses, man. So you're never – I mean, we're getting to the – I'll be honest, we're getting to the end of this, the whole Saban thing. And people need to just enjoy what is happening. When you win, celebrate, happy. I mean, we're on the back nine of this thing. So don't take it for granted. Soak it all up. Enjoy the ride. Those guys, they'll be motivated to get better. I guarantee you. Nobody wants to win more than Will Anderson, and all those guys will play better. So, listen, I liked it better. Don't even get me started on the Falcons yesterday. You want to talk about suffering. Oh, my God. The Falcons, I expected them to look like crap. They actually looked great. Then they lost the game at the very end like they usually do.
Well, at least they scored 26 points.
They did. They outscored Bama, but they also gave up a lot more than Bama did. They blew another big lead. I mean, they just that franchise, man, you talk about the polar opposite of being a Bama fan and a Falcons fan. I like Saturdays a lot better than Sundays.
No doubt. Well, thanks, B. Rich. Appreciate the phone call. No question. I totally agree with B. Rich on that. It's hard for me to believe, and again, it's just fans on social media, but you got Bama fans wanting to fire both coordinators because Alabama won a game. You couldn't be any stupider. I mean, if you want to fire coordinators because you won a game, give yourself a lobotomy and just don't watch it because you don't know a dadgum thing, and you're so stupid that you probably think Ernest T. Bass was actually a real person.
Yeah, well, I'll show you frustrating. You want to know how many yards per play I was averaging this year?
I'll guess. 1.8.
2.8.
Oh, I almost got it.
2.8. There's high school teams that can average better than that. It's pitiful. All right, that's that's my ugly from the whole entire year. If you can't guess that one by now. Anyway, we got to get our hour break, and when we come back, the Kentucky Wildcats played really good in the Swamp, so much so Freddie Maggard is going to join us next.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again, proud to be a sponsor of All Things Football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had an accident reported at Jordan and Putman. They cleared it completely. Two different wrecks, Joe Quick and 231. One reported with injury. Maston Lake east of Jordan Lane reported with an injury. And in Limestone County, we got one working 31 in Browns Ferry. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. For this Monday, expect mostly sunshine. High temperatures topping out in the mid to upper 70s for the afternoon. And it looks like it's going to be a dry day as well. For your Monday night, a clear sky. Low temperature is going to be falling into the mid and lower 50s for the overnight. I'm meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Hi, welcome back. It's hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We are live On Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone from Bill Penny Toyota along University Drive. Of course, we're always sitting out here in the service department on the days that we're out here. So if you need your vehicle service, head on out here to Bill Penny Toyota right here at the service department. They're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you need to get a hold of them to service your vehicle, you can do so, 256-837-1111. That's for the fine folks here at Bill Penny Toyota Service Department. Of course, you might as well just mosey on over and take a look at some of those brand new Toyotas while you're here as well. It never hurts to take a look at a brand new car, or even a used car for all that matters. All right, the Kentucky Wildcats go into Gainesville in the Swamp and do something that before a few years ago was unthinkable, and that is win in the Swamp. Now, under head coach Mark Stoops, they are making that quite their second home.
Yes, for the first time since, I believe, the 76 and 77, the Kentucky Wildcats have now beaten the Florida Gators back-to-back seasons for the second time in the Swamp under head coach Mark Stoops, who has done a remarkable job. It was a huge win, and not even a perfect performance by Kentucky. They certainly had some issues in the kicking game, but they certainly controlled the game the entire second half, won the game up front like Mark Stoops likes to do. Will Levis showing progress with the passing game. Young receivers stepping up for Kentucky, and this was a huge 26-16 win. And who better than to help us break it down than our great friend, former Kentucky quarterback under Jerry Claiborne. He just finished up his Monday morning quarterback edition of the Leach Report with the voice of the Wildcats, Tom Leach, and that's Kentucky Sports Radio and KSR Podcast, Depth Chart Podcast aficionado, Freddie Maggard, and he's with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Freddie, welcome back to Huntsville on 97.7 The Zone with Drew and Scott. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, and I only drive Toyotas, so that's the only cars I own. So you're at a good spot today.
Well, thanks, man.
We appreciate that.
What a performance there by Kentucky, both on that offensive side and the defensive side of the ball, because you looked at Florida coming off that Utah win. They're back at home, and it was like, man, it's going to be an uphill battle for Kentucky. They go in shorthanded in that running back spot, but credit to Mark Stoops and company. They had this team ready to play.
Well, I mean, the simplistic version of my take on the game is this. Kentucky has a better program with the better team and better players than Florida, and should have won the game. Should have won the game by more than 10 points. So while that surprised some, I'm big on logo confusion. I think a lot of people get confused about logos, and if you strip the logos off the Kentucky and Florida helmets, you would see that Kentucky was a much better team and has better players and is a better program in 2022. That's the world we live in, and that's hard for a lot of people to accept and to understand, and that's a testament to what Mark Stoops has done with this football program. I think it was very fitting that he passed Bear Bryant as the all-time leader in coach in victories for a head coach at UK with a win at the Swamp, and like you said, for many years was just an unattainable dream. And now Mark Stoops has done it twice in the last two out of three last two trips down there. Just a typical Mark Stoops win. Come out second half, dominate Florida up front. The Florida front seven got tired. It's not very deep. Attrition is a part of football. Kentucky took advantage of that. Ran 97 yards off 17 carries. Cavassier smoked. Had 4 carries, 10-plus yards. Kentucky ran the clock. Kentucky shut down Anthony Richardson and won the football game. Defensively, and I've been saying this for 4 years, this is Brad White's 4th year. From year 1 to year 4, I still say that Brad White is a superstar defensive coordinator. He is a future head coach, and his plan, his execution, his defense, I think we're going to look at the end of the year, because I don't believe that many teams are going to hold Anthony Richardson to 4 yards rushing this year. I don't believe many teams are going to hold Florida to 4.5 yards per carry this year, or 25% on third down, because I think Anthony Richardson is that dynamic. But with Kentucky and those linebackers now, I mean, again, an underrated group of linebackers I think could be the best in the conference. I mean, they could contain him on the edge. The 8, 9, 10 defensive linemen rotating. There was no drop-off. Secondary is much better. I thought it was a defensive masterpiece from Brad White on Saturday night.
It really was. I thought Kentucky controlled the game for much of it. And, again, they've still got things to clean up. They certainly want to clean up the kicking game. But I thought it was a huge statement by Kentucky that they didn't play completely clean, and yet they dominated the game.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you how much better. And this is going to sound weird to some of your listeners, but I mean, it just goes to show you that how much better Kentucky is than Florida right now in 2022. You go down there, you don't play great offensively. I thought that without Chris Rodriguez Jr., Will Levis was going to have a Heisman moment. He did. He was good, 54%, 202 yards, and a touchdown and interception, but not great. And then Kentucky just became Kentucky again in the second half and just whipped Florida up front. I mean, Florida, that defensive front seven didn't want much more towards the end of the game. And that's, you know, the first 6 quarters were not great for the rebuilt Big Blue Wall or Kentucky's offensive line, but the last 2 quarters, we got some cooking now. And that happened, you know, all-SEC guard Kenneth Forsey kicks out the left tackle. You got Jagger Burton there at left guard. He started the last 2 games. A freshman, that's a name for you all to remember down there. He's going to be a pro. Eli Cox, the center, was a mid-year All-American guard last year, moved him to center. Auburn transfer, Tayshawn Manning, played really well on the run. And then Jeremy Flax had a rough first half, but that collective, that offensive line group played really well in the second half. And then Kentucky, Rich Gangarello comes over from the 49ers, has said that Kentucky has 4 pros in that tight end room. And that group flashed. Big catches by Keaton Upshaw. Jordan Dingle is going to be a star there. He had a couple of huge catches. So I think it was an imperfect but enough offensive performance by Kentucky, and a lot to clean up on. I can guarantee you this: Mark Stoops is going to grab his team's attention today, and we'll have it all through the week before they play Youngstown on Saturday. Because, you know, for 61 wins, for Stoops to pass the Bear, he's done it by simply putting his head down and going to work, and that's his philosophy and that's his program. I thought the team. One of my goals was for the team to be like Mark against Florida, because Talkin had called Kentucky soft, and you don't do that. And one of my goals was to be a fighter like Mark Stoops. Mark Stoops doesn't back down from John Calipari, opponents in recruiting or anything, and his team played like that. Represented him and was a mirror image of their head coach.
Well, I mean, maybe Joel Klatt would call him soft. That's about how smart Klatt is. I can't believe anybody who had ever watched a Mark Stoops team would call them soft. Good grief, some of these talking heads.
Well, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, you know, how much is original thought and how much is what, you know, I don't know. But, yeah, I just thought that was a not very well researched and inaccurate description of a Mark Stoops football team, and Kentucky took that personal. Took it very personal, because, you know, in the locker room, that word, you throw hands. If somebody calls you that in the locker room, the hands are thrown. That is a you know, you just don't do that. And Kentucky used it and used it well, and was the more physical team.
Can't say enough about Will Levis, though. I mean, going into the season, and those that follow the SEC knew what kind of a talent he was and knew what he could bring to the table. It's, again, those outside of their little bubble that didn't want to see it. But Will Levis showing what kind of talent he has on display, and why some are putting him up there near the top of their NFL draft boards.
Yeah, the NFL folks that I talked to said that that Levis helped himself in Florida. Even though the numbers weren't fantastic, there were circumstances that influenced that. Florida's a good defense, not a great defense, but you know, still getting the pass blocking worked out, and you know, that Will helped himself in the eyes of the NFL draft. I also had a personnel, my top personnel source tell me this on Sunday. He texted me. He said, we live in a world where Kentucky has better players than LSU and Florida, which was, I get it. Then he went on to say, Florida and LSU have players that look great at combines. Kentucky players play football in football games, and there's a big difference. So I think that describes a typical Mark Stoops team. Top 10 now. I mean, listen, Kentucky's always been the chaser. Now they're the chased. We'll see how that works out. And we've only played 2 games here, so I'm not crowning anybody, any team, anything yet. I mean, look what Alabama went through Saturday. Look at Georgia, how good they, I mean, some teams are coming back down to earth. South Carolina, Missouri, Vanderbilt. It's just, we got a lot of games. For me, this was just one game out of 12. And the way that Stoops has elevated this program, there's going to be 4 or 5 games of the year this season for Kentucky. And this was just one game out of 12 regular season contests. And then the next game of the year will be at Ole Miss in a few weeks. So, you want to be big time, then you go to have the Georgia game matter in November. Kentucky had to have beaten Florida in September, and the Cats got it done.
They certainly did, and I know you gave us your thoughts on this young man when we had you on a few weeks ago, Freddie, and during fall camp, and he made a game-changing play in this game. Really sparked the Kentucky offense. Pardon me. And this is the young man from their backyard who's a true freshman receiver. I know we talked about Barry Brown. He made a huge play against Miami of Ohio in the first game, 100-yard kickoff return, but Dane Key, what a catch he made, and a contested one, helping out his quarterback and sparking this Kentucky offense on Saturday night. Yeah, 3 catches, averaged 27 yards per reception, had the 55-yard touchdown pass from Levis. Kentucky's got 2 dudes, their receivers, that are true freshmen, Dane Key and Barry Brown. I think they're going to go back and forth in having big games, and Saturday was Dane's turn. And, I've known Dane his entire life. His dad, Dante, was a teammate of mine. He's a very good friend of mine. We spend a lot of time together. So I've watched Dane come up from Pee Wee football all the way through, where he is today. Same with Jagger Burton, the guard. I'm close with that family. They're both from the same high school in Lexington, Frederick Douglass. So it's interesting, and it's fun to watch them advance to where they are now, starters in the SEC, future pros, and Dane Key sure did show out Saturday, and you're going to see and hear a lot about that young man going forward. He's an elite route runner for a true freshman. I'm not saying he's an elite route runner for a college player yet, but for a true freshman, his route management and understanding of defenses, where to get, how to get there, and he's a hand catcher, good speed. I mean, he's going to make a lot of noise. Well, and we're talking to Freddie Maggard, Kentucky Sports Radio, Depth Chart Podcast, does a great job with the Monday Morning Quarterback with Tom Leach, the voice of the Wildcats. How much better, you talked about the adjustments they're already making on the offensive line and how you think they're going to settle in. How much better, though, can this passing game get with these young receivers and Will Levis continuing to get on the same page? They can get a lot better. I think Kentucky's just scratched the surface, to be honest with you. The offensive coordinator, Rich Gangarello, comes over from the 49ers, and a lot of 12, 13 personnel, which means a lot of tight ends. And he said, and I agree, Kentucky has 4 pros in that tight end room, and saw a lot of that against Florida. You're going to see a lot of that going forward. Tavion Robinson, the receiver, was put in the backfield at times, much like the 49ers used Deebo Samuel. I mean, it's very creative. And I watched the film a couple times, and Kentucky was close on hitting a few. So I think honestly, we just scratched the surface with this offense. It's going to be explosive, a lot of big plays, and get that offensive line taken care of. Because we've been spoiled here in Lexington. The offensive line's been one of the best in the country for many years. And John Schlarman, the late great John Schlarman, deserves a lot of credit. I don't think Kentucky's. I think Kentucky was put in bad position
as far as his offensive linemen, because a lot of the young guys weren't put into the game and didn't get game reps and weren't developed to be ready for this year. So the first game was rough because you had 5 new players at new positions, and then the first 2 quarters at Florida were not ideal, and then come in after halftime and turn back into old Kentucky, and I mean that in a good way. And I think we saw a lot of growth in that offensive line. I think Kentucky will go as far as the offensive line takes it.
Mm-hmm. And that could be with a chance to, as you said, if they continue to get better, make that Georgia game matter in November. And but as you said, they just have to continue to stay healthy. And then I wanted to ask you about a young man, though, because we're watching him closely. Do you think, or is it going to take a full year? Do you think that D. Beckwith will have a role with this team this season?
Yeah, I mean, he's new, right? I mean, I do think he's going to have a role because Cangarello, the offensive coordinator, likes to put players in a different spot, and I think he's going to be aligned somewhere in the backfield, whether that's an H-back or a fullback or a running back. I do think that eventually he is going to play a role, and he's too dynamic of a playmaker not to, and you want to see him on the field, and I think the next 2 weeks you're going to see a lot of depth be established against Youngstown State and Northern Illinois. But again, you can't. We saw, look what happened to Texas A&M, and there's upsets everywhere. That's why I think Mark Stoops is going to absolutely blister his team today and at the meetings and make sure they understand they're not as good as they think they are. So that's just typical Stoops. So I do think that D will get some run here in the next couple of weeks to see how that turns out.
Well, we're looking forward to that, and we know how proud Mark Stoops is from where he's from. He definitely wants to play well against Youngstown.
Oh, yeah, there's a big connection there Saturday. I think, 5 members of the staff are from Youngstown.
Wow.
I mean, and you can't go anywhere in Central Kentucky without running into somebody from Youngstown. So there's been a lot of people moved down here. A lot of family members, Vince Merrill's from Youngstown, Mark Stoops, Frank Bufano, Courtney Love. I mean, go on and on. I think there's going to be a big interest there, and I think it's good for Kentucky to play this game. Normally, if you play FCS opponents, I like for it to be in state, but for everything that Mark Stoops has done for the program and how much he loves Youngstown and how proud he is from being from there, I like Kentucky's schedule in this game.
Well, it'll be 11 a.m. on SEC Network. Freddie Maggard will have full coverage with Kentucky Sports Radio. Going to be an early kickoff, but 2-0 Youngstown taking on number 9 Kentucky, and that'll be an early kick in Lexington at Kroger Field. Well, Freddie, we always appreciate your time and your insight. Best there is in the business covering the Wildcats, and let everybody know where they can follow your work and where they can hear you.
Yeah, so KentuckySportsRadio.com. We're an on-3 organization, and we're very proud of that. And you can follow me on Twitter at Fred Maggard 606. Monday Morning Quarterback with Tom Leach is statewide here in Kentucky. And then I have my own depth podcast. It's the Depth Chart Podcast. We record Sundays, and I usually have a bunch of has-been old dudes like me that played a lot of football, and we break it down, chop it up, and get after it a little bit. But we have a lot of fun. And then Friday nights, I have the Kroger KSR Game of the Week. I go somewhere in the state of Kentucky to watch a high school football game, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy that. Yes. That's the highlight of my week is Friday night.
Well, we both share a passion for high school football, and one of my great honors in my career was to be on with you and the voice of the Wildcats, Tom Leach, one of the best in the business, and you are as well. We always appreciate your time, Freddie, and have a great rest of your week. And we look forward to the Wildcats going to work on Saturday morning against Youngstown. Thank you, sir.
Hey, and just one more time, don't get logo fooled out there, people. Kentucky's a good football team. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Word to the wise there. Well, I mean, look at it. You when we talk football and you talk Kentucky, there's still, and part of me sometimes still looks at that and says, Florida, Kentucky, You got to go Florida just because it is the F
Utah,
versus the
a
K.
lot of people were just taking the Gators because they had beaten a top 10 team at home.
Yep.
I still stuck with Kentucky, but there were others that were not. We talked about earlier in the show in the first hour, the spread started going up. People talking about Anthony Richardson and talking about the Gators and the swamp being the insane environment, it being at night. But the better team was in the white and blue uniforms, and there's no doubt. And
Don't get logo fooled. Yeah. Oh, what about the T and the A? What about the T and the A? Texas A&M, Appalachian State. Don't get logo fooled there.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'd like to know the NIL value of Appalachian State compared to Dirt Neck University and know what the difference is there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, one head coach makes $425,000. The other most overrated, overpaid buffoon makes $9.5 million to talk about 100 words per minute.
I pointed this out, and last year they took. And Mississippi State is a good football team, but Texas A&M choked against them last year, the week before they played Alabama. Made that Alabama win not seem, it's like, oh my goodness.
Well, it just shows how good A&M is capable of being, but they just don't do it week to week. Like, they'll probably play Alabama a really good football game, and yet they were flat against Appalachian.
They got a top 25 showdown was against Miami coming up on this week.
NIL Bowl.
They looked ahead against that game and had Appalachian State come in. I mean, we thought they'd be 2-0 going into that Miami game, and maybe Miami would trip them up. You were thinking Miami would trip them up. You were hoping Miami.
Canes. I'm still
but
going
it was
to
App
be.
State was the one that was tripping them up.
We've seen Mario Cristobal win at Ohio State with the Oregon Ducks and then turn around and lose to Cal Berkeley. So I really don't know what to expect. I mean, hopefully Texas A&M will show up when the check's clear and they won't boycott the game because they're not being paid, because that's basically what they looked like. They looked like a bunch of turds that they were fat and happy and been getting paid a lot of money and didn't want to play hard, and Appalachian State just dominated them.
Yep.
I mean, they physically whipped the highest paid team in all of college football with the most overrated buffoonery of a head coach, the dirt neck Jimbo Fisher.
Wolverine Dan with us real fast on line one. Good morning, sir.
Well, good morning. Listen, that loss by A&M is sort of like when Joe Biden became president, Jimmy Carter goes, God, now I'm off the schneid. And you know what? I can go the same way with Michigan, because guess what?
Now you're off the schneid, right?
You betcha, baby, because my loss was a blocked field goal at the end of the game. His loss was a beatdown. You're right, Drew. He was a beatdown.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. So what do you think about your Wolverines? Are they going to decide on a quarterback now?
Oh, they did. They decided.
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. I want to say this. There's a reason why he's a Heisman. And what he did against Texas and how he pulled it through, he's the reason why you won that game. And you better keep him healthy, because he is the X factor for Alabama. Don't you agree?
I would agree with that 110%. After what he did Saturday, I already was leaning that way. But to me, Dan, I've watched all three of them. I've been blessed to cover them and then see them all live. Bryce is the best of them all. He's better than Tua. He's better than Mac. He can make plays that those two guys couldn't, and it's not disrespecting those two young men who are, trying to, develop their pro careers and were great players at Alabama. But Bryce is just different. He's got a different skill set. He's special, and without Bryce Young, Alabama has a loss right now. There's no question about it.
So I'll get to my Michigan thing real quick, but I do want to touch on your coach real quick. Check all pockets in his pants. There's got to be a rabbit foot, because that Texas kicker, if it had made that, it wouldn't have been there. Okay, you guys might have lost that game, but I will say this: he looked tired. I don't know, dude. I mean, he's going to be. He'll finish his contract out, but I think that's all he's got, to be honest with you. And I mean, that's a lot of pressure every year trying to win a national championship, or expected to win a national championship. So let's talk about my Michigan Wolverines. Well, the defense is showing up again. You're looking at about half a dozen sacks on top of 7 last week. Not bad. I know the opponents are not good, and their next opponent's not good either. I understand. But you still got to perform. McCarthy, he is going to be the starter. JJ, his average pass was 19.1 yards, 3 touchdowns, quarterback rating at 99.2. And I'm going to tell you the X factor, I think, with this team right now offensively and he's back in the fold. He got hurt, freak accident, beginning of last year. Ronnie Bell, that guy is, he's something else, man. I think that's part of the X factor. Now, the crazy thing with that game yesterday, or should I say Saturday, our possession was only 27 minutes. Their possession, Hawaii, was 32. So I'm thinking, wow. I mean, you talk about a quick striking team that could score. I like the way the offense is playing. The defense is playing pretty sound. I tell you, it's well-rounded all the way around. Hopefully that'll hold well going into the Big Ten. That's when everything starts, basically, for us. But then again, just like Appalachian State and A&M, bottom line is you can never always play the game that's in front of you. So we'll see what happens. That's a lot of information in just a couple of minutes.
Yep.
Go Blue. Me shaking.
All right, thanks for the call, Wolverine Dan. We got to get a break in. Shane Sean is with us on line 2, but Shane Sean, we got to get this break in. When we come back, we will get your phone call, we promise. Plus, we got to talk about the Auburn Tigers, talking about lucky to survive.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Had an accident reported at Jordan and Putman. They cleared it completely. 2 different wrecks, Joe Quick and 231. One reported with injury. Maston Lake east of Jordan Lane reported with an injury. And in Limestone County, we got one working 31 in Browns Ferry. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff, Popeye, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Listen up, sports fans.
SportsBet is the
Sportsbook. BetUS.com is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com or call 1-800-99-BET-US and get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Coach, how's this year's lineup looking? It's looking great. We got a lot of MVVs and they are looking outstanding. Next.
Yes, what about trades?
Ma'am, you know University Kia always gives up to $5,000 of a KBB trade-in value. Right now, get up to $5,000 over Kelly Blue Book fair market value for any trade at University Kia. New 2022 Kia K5s are just $199 per month. Plus, we want to buy your car. Scan the QR code to see what your car's worth. Only at University Kia.
If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID-19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID-19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of the Samsung Bespoke Refrigerator's Beverage Center with internal water dispenser and built-in pitcher with flavor infuser for crisp, refreshing water, making this the sound of savings on top brand appliances. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Final days to save up to $1,201 on this Samsung Bespoke Refrigerator in September 14th. Offer valid August 25th through September 14th. See store or online for details.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Alabama A&M University football. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com and view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see ya in a Kia. Go Bulldogs!
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball live from Bill Penny Toyota, sitting out here in the service department. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and then on Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., they can service your vehicle's needs. Let's get to Shane Sean real fast. Line 1. Good morning, Shane Sean.
Good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing good.
I did a little research yesterday or last night. Jimbo makes $9 million a year, correct?
Yes.
9.5.
He just got his dirt neck ass whipped by somebody that makes $450,000 a year. At Texas A&M spent $36.7 million football. Appalachian State spent $9,365,952 in expenses.
Yep. Texas, they paid him 1.2.
Well, this says 1.5.
Oh, okay.
Which one's correct?
Yeah.
This says 1.5. So either way, they paid them over $1 million to come in and whip their butts. Because I don't know. I watched some of the game, but I watched the entire replay, and I'm here to tell you that was nothing but a butt whipping. Texas A&M only had 36 plays on offense, or 38 plays on offense. That's it.
I know, it's crazy. They had 18 minutes of possession time. They couldn't even possess the football because they got dominated up front.
Do they give Max Johnson a look at quarterback? Do you think he stays with Haynes?
I don't know how you don't. Brenton Varnum asked Dirtneck that, and he was like, "Well, I mean, we got to do something. Everything's on the table. We got to do something. We got to come together. We got to try to win." That's what he did.
Drew, Scott, did y'all watch? Y'all watch the late kick? With Josh Pate. Y'all actually watch that?
I didn't watch it this time.
I didn't see it this weekend, but yes, I do. I've watched it. Yes.
You have to go back and watch it. Get his take on Jimbo. I'm telling you, I've never heard him down somebody so bad in my life. Usually, Josh is like, "I'm not here to bust nobody's balls," but he busted his balls bad. He flat out said he said. He held up a milk jug and wrote on there, expired in 2014. He said this, when Jimbo opens his refrigerator and sees a milk jug that expired in 2014, he throws it away. Why is he not throwing away this expired offense?
That's a good question.
I mean, I've said it for years that his offense was archaic. He's an overrated quarterback developer. Everybody talks about Bill O'Brien's lack of creativity. Well, good Lord, he looks like, Lane Kiffin's older brother compared to what, Jimbo's doing. Jimbo's not doing anything creative. They're predictable. He has to have better athletes than everybody else. And the problem is he doesn't even know how to pay the right ones and get them to play hard. He's never been able to get kids to play hard consistently because, again, he's not a good motivator. He's not a good developer of talent. He talks out of both sides of his mouth. I'll just say this. He's the biggest scumbag in coaching right now. It is not close since Urban Meyer is having to do television and is not on the sidelines. And Urban
but at
is
least
a better
Urban
football
won.
coach. At least Urban's got 3 rings. Basically, the only reason Dirtneck has one is he played in a weak sauce conference. Auburn, blew a 20-3 lead, and then Auburn beat Alabama, so Alabama didn't get a chance to whip his ass all over the field, which is what they would have done in the national championship game.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. That's where I was going at. Bobby Bowden's last game was January 1st of 2010, a bowl game.
Yep.
Jimbo won it in 2013, so he basically won that with Bobby's senior players. Correct?
Well, in some of them. I mean, Jimbo recruited some of them as well, including Jameis Winston. But, again, I'll say this. It's been proven with Gene Chizik and Ed Orgeron. Even the sun shines on the dog's ass one day. Yep. And everything lined up for him, but it'll never line up again because he's a buffoon.
I know you're busy. I'll tell you this. Thank you for what you said to Jeff. I appreciate that.
I was going to ask you if you heard that phone call. I'm sorry.
Dude, I know. With my new job, I do not get to call in. I do not get to listen to Tom Abraham's show, but I do listen to yours and Wes and Steve's every day. Even though I don't call in, I'm listening. I promise you, every day.
I mean, I don't understand Jeff.
Forever.
I mean, he's just I pick Kentucky to win, and he's sitting there trying to pick a fight with me that he's going to lose every single time.
Oh, poor Jeff. He's got a case of the blues.
I'll keep my mouth shut. I was going to say something that got me in trouble. I'm not going to do that.
All right, Shane Sean, thanks for the call.
Sean.
All right, here it is, the much-anticipated audio.
I had to Google this team to make sure that they were even real. I was really confused because Appalachia is definitely not a state. But sure enough, I found them, and they're located deep, and I mean deep, in the backwoods. Just like you would think any hillbilly college that names themselves the Mountaineers. I just hope that these guys can get here tomorrow all right, because I know for a fact that half of their football team can barely even read the name on their jerseys, let alone read a map. It's a shame that the only 2 brain cells that all these guys have left are going to get knocked out by our wrecking crew defense tomorrow.
That was from the Midnight Yell at Texas A&M.
You just can't. You can't fix stupid. You really can't. That's the best thing you can say. Like I said, man, I tweeted out all the stats, Scott. I tweeted them out. 315 total yards to 186. 2 turnovers to none. 41 plus minutes of possession time to 18 plus minutes of possession time. 12 for 25 on 3rd and 4th down to 2 out of 8 on 3rd down for ATM, who didn't even go for it on 4th down. And just getting physically mauled by this football team, who, according to this moron who's got to be related to Jimbo Fisher in some way, he's got to be his other cousin Daryl or something, just because you can't be any stupider. I mean, my goodness, they got dominated in the trenches by Appalachian State.
Yes.
A team who's probably maybe has 2 guys on NIL money for maybe $2,000, while ATM is paying, more for their defensive line per player than the head coach makes for Appalachian. And yet those lazy slugs can't even, go head-to-head with Appalachian State. Now, saying all that, they'll probably get, some extra motivation this week. Maybe some of the boosters will pay them a little more, so they'll be motivated to practice, and they'll probably beat Miami. Now, I hope they don't. I hope they continue to fall flat on their face. I think it would be hilarious. I still hope Alabama beats them 65-0. Probably not going to happen. They'll get up for Alabama, but they're the typical lazy, poorly coached football team. They're extremely talented. They'll end up there with their 8-4 usual record because they'll get up off the turf. But I'm just telling you, they're not a great football team. They'll never be a great football team as long as that dirt-neck scumbag is the head coach.
We haven't even broke down Auburn yet. San Jose State. Auburn fortunate enough to get that win over San Jose State on Saturday. TJ Finley, Robbie Ashford, neither one of them kind of electrifying that quarterback position for Auburn.
TJ much better in the second half, but Auburn trailed 10-7 at halftime. Both quarterbacks throw interceptions. The passing game still looks limited, Scott. The running game has been good, not great. Still limited production from the wide receivers. Part of that could be QB related. Javarius Johnson looks like the best of an average wide receiver room. We haven't seen guys step up yet. Shanker did not have a great game, and I know you'll hear him today on the Tom Abraham show, but he had some penalties, didn't have his best outing. They've got to get a lot better in a hurry with Penn State coming to town. I mean, this was a game that Auburn competed well in last year. I still think it's a winnable game for Auburn, but the other thing, too, is if you watch the game, at times Auburn got pushed around on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and I'm talking about offensively and defensively. Penn State's going to be a lot better than San Jose State. San Jose State's a scrappy BS team, but they're a group of 5 team. Quarterback really impressed me. Young kid, junior from Hawaii. A little on the short side. Good arm, though. Just competed his tail off. Honestly, he looked better than both the guys Auburn had. And we still haven't seen anything from the dirt neck refugee.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, as bad as that first half looked for Ashford and Finley, we didn't even see Zach Calzada at all. You might have thought they might have turned to him just to get him in there, but wow. He either is not 100% healthy or he is really far down on that depth chart.
You'd have to wonder because, again, you just brought it up, Scott. We have not seen him at all. I mean, it's amazing that, Zach Calzada has not made an appearance for Auburn in either one of these out-of-conference games. Now, we've talked to Justin Hoganson and Jason Caldwell and others that cover that every day, and they talked about how Finley needs the reps. He needs to have complete command of that offense, and I think that's what they were doing. But it's still shocking that we didn't see him. And I just got to be honest, man. I as I watched it, I could not believe that I was looking at Siobhan Cordero, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, this is by the way, he's listed at 6'1", 190. There's no way that he's 6 feet tall. I think he's more like 5'10". But that kid was competing, had good arm strength, mobility, didn't have the players around him even that Auburn had, and you're wondering to yourself, man, what if he was at Auburn? How much better would they be? I think Auburn's limited at the quarterback position, and in this day and time of college football, if you're limited at that position, you're dead.
Right.
Okay, you have to be elite at the quarterback position to have a chance to win a conference title, a national title, and to stay employed, quite frankly. Right now, Texas A&M doesn't look like they're elite at the quarterback position. With the most overrated quarterback developer of all time, trying to develop Haynes King. But to be honest, he needs to be playing the guy that beat him last year, Mr. Johnson, Max Johnson. I'm going to be interested to see if we see Max against Miami and what we see out of TJ Finley coming up against Penn State, because this is a huge game for the future of Brian Harsin. They've got to win this game, in my opinion. We talked about it. If they were 3-2 or worse coming out of this 5-game homestand, they're probably headed for 5 losses, and he may not survive this season.
All right, let's get that final break in. When we come back, your tomorrow's headlines today. We got to name a team of the week. We'll do that coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back for their 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers their members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite leagues, including college football and the NFL. They've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest European slots, and their live dealers are waiting for you at the tables. Sign up at BetUS.com and use the promo code WZZN. That's BetUS.com and the promo code WZZN.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Attorney Tommy Sinyard on behalf of Sinyard Law, and again proud to be a sponsor of all things football here on ESPN Radio. My son Bart and I started our own law firm July 1 and are very proud and excited to be bringing you our 50 years of collective national award-winning injury trial law experience. Check us out on the web, sinyardlaw.com.
Sinyard Law, nationally recognized, locally respected.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
AVIQ. Who is AVIQ? AVIQ is audiovisual the intelligent way, where we put our IQ to work for your AV needs. With more than 100 years combined experience in audio, video, and automation, our team of experts is dedicated to one thing, helping you discover technological solutions that make your home special. Once you experience a game or a movie on one of our state-of-the-art home theater systems, you may never leave the house again. AVIQ can build the entire system for you or provide the quality components if you're a do-it-yourselfer. But AVIQ is more than just home theater and state-of-the-art sound systems. We offer a variety of control options for home technology. Energy efficiency, heightened security, and improved quality of life are all attainable through the automation of home systems. Intuitive and user-friendly control is our main priority in designing a system that meets your needs. Don't just take our word for it. You need to see it to believe it. Come visit us at our state-of-the-art showroom on University, just east of Jim and Nick's, across from AT&T, or visit aviqhsv.com.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
As the Atlanta Braves battle for another postseason run.
Throw comes in, and it got him! Oh, my goodness, what a throw!
It's also the start of football season. We've got you covered right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Indeed, we've got some headlines to get to. One is, we need to do this. We do it every Monday. It is time for a special presentation.
Each week, they lace it up. Each week, we'll present our Team of the Week.
Get in here! I got one thing to say.
So it's time for the Bryant Bank Team of the Week presentation.
It's hard to do these when you have so much to do on a Monday because, I mean, literally, we got to do this on a Monday, but we had a lot to get to, a lot of college football talk. But nonetheless, we do need to present our 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week. And it was a game you heard right here on our airwaves on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. They were down 20-0, and then they found themselves down 27-7. But somehow still found a way to come back and get a win. This after opening the season with a tough loss to Sparkman. We know about that one ad nauseum, but all they've done since then is post a win, post a win, post a win. That's good enough for us.
No, there's no doubt about it. And they are now 2-0 in their region. They came back and got a huge win in a tradition-rich game in the Cotton Classic. And that is the Hazel Green Trojans, coached by our great friend Charlie Wilburn, also good friend offensive coordinator Michael Harper. They come back from a 20-0 and 27-7 deficit at home against the Buckhorn Bucks and win 49-42. Armand Caldwell, 19 carries, 270 yards, 5 touchdowns, nominated for AL.com Player of the Week in the Huntsville area. And the Hazel Green Trojans, Scott, are our 97.7 The Zone Bryant Bank Team of the Week.
So congratulations to them, along with Bryant Bank. And Drew and I will be out there this week for a special presentation with the Hazel Green Trojans. So congratulations to them. The other big news is that Scott Frost out at Nebraska. And apparently the Nebraska Cornhuskers did not want to wait to let that buyout go down. If they would have waited until October 1st, the buyout would have dropped from about $15 million to about $7 million, I believe, for Scott Frost. That did not happen, so Scott Frost out as Nebraska head coach. And how about this, Drew? Would you ever have thought this? Kansas, Duke, and Rutgers are 6-0 to start the year. Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Texas A&M are 2-5.
Tell me again what Texas A&M's
Kansas,
record
Duke,
is.
and Rutgers 6-0. Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Texas A&M 2-5.
I just love the fact that you're putting Texas A&M in there. And Notre Dame. It's always glorious for Notre Dame.
How about Kansas, though? How about Kansas?
They beat West Virginia in Morgantown, and this is not basketball. 55-42.
Kansas
Lance Leipold comes over from Buffalo, and the Kansas Jayhawks are 2-0.
They're not gonna be able to let everybody in for free anymore.
Wow.
They're 2-0. They're gonna have to pay to get in to see a Kansas game.
They'll have to pay more than Texas A&M. Wow. Congrats to Charlie Wilburn and the Hazel Green Trojans. 3 straight wins. What a performance on this past Thursday night.
Hopefully everybody plays on Friday this week. We need everybody.
So.
All right, guys, we're done here at Bill Penny. We'll be back in studio tomorrow morning. Take care.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used.